on women and our training. So it was very, very important that we create an organization that actually really empower women. We've launched last year in March the Win 100 Women in Solar, where there's a whole 3-year empowerment program. You know, lots of empowerment programs teaches women short courses, but there's nobody there that stays with that woman for a period of 3 years, where she learns how to manage her back office, where she learns how to manage her outputs, where she learns how to make certain economic differentiations, what is sound and what is not. And that is why when we take women into a network like that, a program, it will last 3 years. The next is going to be tourism and agriculture. And we are also involved with arts. We are involved with medical at the moment. And we specifically looked at a solution for women-led households, where the household is led very often by a woman by herself. But you know what? We came up with a plan, and I would like to see South Africa supported. It's a South African product, and we are not going to take the money out of the country and go and buy hospitals in abroad, in first world countries, with the money that we collect. We use the money to actually serve our women. So I see we are recording, so I'm going to jump in there and I'm going to explain to women the subtleties of gender-based violence.
Thanks so much. You can go ahead, Francisca. Then we can start with you, since now we are back. Thank you so much, our technical team, for coming on board. And thank you everyone else for joining us today. Happy Women's Month, happy Women's Day. School of Empowerment today is going to host you to this wonderful session with our wonderful women, powerful in the society, change makers, change causers, revolutionaries, what have you. So today, the topics we are going to tackle is to empower, equip, and also to encourage a woman, how she can handle herself, taking herself through this journey of womanhood, motherhood, aunthood, sisterhood, whatever name you may give it. So today, my apologies once again, we had a technical glitch, but I think it's sorted. So we'll just continue with Francisca, since she had already started breaking the ice whilst we were still waiting. And then from there, our next speaker, V, will take over from there. Thank you so much. Over to you, Francisca.
Thank you so much, Mercy. Yes, for those who just tuned in, I'm Francesca Fonse, National Champion for Women to the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. I'm also a serial entrepreneur and a UN Global Compact member. We were talking about women empowerment, and I shared with Mercy that we need to empower women with knowledge. And part of that knowledge is to very quickly explain to women the various layers of subtle and not so subtle gender-based violence that we are experiencing as women today. And this is a global phenomenon. It's not only in South Africa. However, sadly, South Africa ranked #1 in the world, which is really a great challenge. Gender-based violence comes in your general gender-based violence, which include rape, where a woman is raped, but she doesn't know the perpetrator. But we find that domestic violence, and we've expanded the terminology of domestic violence. We've expanded the definitions in the new regulation because we now include even your spiritual relationships, because if you see a pastor every Sunday, or whatever your spiritual inclination is, that person is also part of a domestic relationship. It can also include your family members, your own sister, your sister-in-law, your cousin. Somebody can perpetrate domestic violence against you. there's various forms of violence. We all know physical violence, there's psychological violence, there's emotional violence, there's financial violence, and there's economic violence. Economic violence is what we are talking in the workplace. So that forms part of the greater GBV. If you employ a woman and she does the same job as a man and you pay her less, you are perpetuating violence against that woman. I've been challenged on this. I came out saying that blazing fires in 2019 at the WIN Gender Economic Dialogues. I don't care if industry doesn't like it, it's a fact. How else do you explain it? If a woman has got to take the same responsibility, fulfill the same portfolio, and have the same level of productivity as a man, and you pay her less, is that not a form of aggression? So we as women better need to step up. We need to know what it is, what we're dealing with. We need to know where to search for help and how to come by help. And I was asked to talk about empowerment of women today. Yes, in our national outreach, Women Integral Impact Network, we do women empowerment, we do entrepreneurial training, we create networks of entrepreneurs in various sectors. However, what is an empowered woman? If you're a woman and you are financially very secure, but you never have a thought of taking somebody in your work environment or in your family environment or in your community environment, another woman younger, and bringing her into the fold and shaping her so that she can be successful in the future. Are you an empowered woman? I would not think so. You must have some serious hang-ups that you want to cling to your own little bit of fame to the extent where you don't include others. That's not empowerment. Then again, you know, if we look at empowerment and we ask ourselves, what is empowerment? Empowerment, especially in the stable of women, is being able to hold your space, to be strong when you're in a male-dominated environment, but to always still be vulnerable to and for other women. Vulnerability and insight and consciousness, they are not weak. They are not weak points in a character. They are massive. It takes strength for you to expose something about your inner self to other people, and especially in group format. It takes a certain level of vulnerability to be able to share with other women what it is in your journey that pained you, where you stumbled, to admit to your own insufficiencies. It's vulnerable, yes, but what it does, it empowers another woman. Another woman can draw strength from another woman's journey. And if I tell you, you know, I messed up so much in a certain time in my life, I mean, or you know what, I wasn't invincible during the apartheid era, you know, we suffered certain things. I make myself more known to you. That is a level of vulnerability. I make myself relatable to you. You can be a total unempowered woman and go and gossip about my journey that you've learned from, but then we know something about you. The gossips, the PhDs, as we call them, the puller down syndromes women, they are not empowered women. A woman who is secure within herself, a woman who knows she's not perfect, a woman who knows she can stumble but she can get up, a woman who is secure in the fact that she has values. There's a difference. It's values and value. I'm not saying, you know, everybody says you are worthy. I'm sorry, if you talk about worth, it sounds like something that goes up on auction. I'm not a thing. I have value. I'm a woman of value. And I want all women to understand their value. Not everybody's value is the same, but everybody's value is direly needed. There's nothing in the greater scheme of things that is not valuable. And that is a conversation we can go on for hours. However, I really think that a woman of value can be strong when she needs to be. She can be vulnerable when she needs to be. She can be empathetic when she needs to be. She can be powerful when she needs to be. And none of those criteria will ever prevent her from picking up another sister, encouraging another sister, speaking up for another sister, quieting the gossip about another sister, or just being there for another sister. That is true empowerment. True empowerment is not living in the biggest house, driving the smartest car, and looking fancy. That's not empowerment. When you have reached a level of understanding of who you are, your purpose, and your value, you are an empowered woman. And empowered women don't do negative things. It's the same with love. When you love, you know you love. It's as simple as that. When you're empowered, you know you're empowered. Because you certain needs, these character defects that runs around sometimes and make a mock, in the tribe. They don't bother, that you're not interested in buying into those kind of things anymore. And that is the one side. The other side is we need to empower women with knowledge. We need to empower women with knowledge with regards to their rights. So on Saturdays, we record empowerment sessions, especially legislation focused for women, and they post it on Facebook. There's a closed Facebook group, there's an open Facebook group, and there's a closed one. So if the women are interested, they're going through divorce, maintenance issues, general human rights issues, non-equal pay, all those kind of issues. That's discussed in that group. And we have some of our other professional volunteers that assist me in the various groups. So knowledge is empowerment. And to take a woman who is being infringed upon by any of these subtle forms of violence in a marriage or not a marriage, a relationship, but a woman that is vulnerable because our brains get skittish. When you go through trauma, your ability to focus and to make rational decisions is affected. And it is called cognitive dissonance disorder, which is one of the things that I'm currently doing a postgraduate at the University of Scotland. And it is when we cannot identify with our true self, which is this calm soul entity that we are. And we get so engrossed in all that is challenging us that we lose ourselves in the process. Now, let me tell you something. If you think 2016, I was stable when I was going through my crazy divorce, I wasn't. But working with the Department of Justice, and that is why I took so long before I said yes, because I thought, look at my life, what can I teach women? It's all over the show. But getting focused, being forced to be focused, being forced to work through through this general legislative challenges of the country, and to being forced to entering into these multiple dialogues we had nationally, and to engage with women and their troubles, then, calmed me, because now I had to focus. And that is when I realized, you know what, half of our trouble, half of the issues that women undergo through divorce, breakup of relationships, is because by the time a woman has decided to end a relationship in a marriage or whatever type of commitment it was, it is normally too late, because we hang on for children, we community pressure, family pressures. That's nothing new. So if you talk to me about empowerment of women, the first thing we train women, whether it's in an entrepreneurial setting or not, is how to calm down, how to be in control of your emotional landscape, so that you can operate between your emotional. It's good to be emotional, but it's good to be balanced in your emotions. And there needs to be a balance between your mental agility and your emotional agility. And that is where women can come into their true empowerment. Because once you've reached that point of balance, let me tell you something, it won't bother you in the slightest what anybody has got to say about you, because it just doesn't matter. You are balanced, and you are in that space for you. And that, to me, is the most powerful empowerment, because from that space, a woman can then go into an entrepreneurship where she gets guided. She can go back into work, and she can function differently in a work environment. Whatever she chooses to do, if she stays at home and raises children, she will even be better at that. Because why are we facing globally this absolute pandemic of gender-based violence? It was by far the greater pandemic than COVID. It's because human values started to slip through the cracks. And because community values did not uphold anymore. Now, what happens to a greater society and nation is our values are affected at everywhere, in our education, in our judiciary, it's everywhere. So now, if you have a woman that is empowered and she functions better at her house, and she functions better as a wife or as a partner, and she's not so dependent, and they call it codependent relationships, where there's a lot of drama. The moment you have that, you will raise a better standard of adult, because I always children. Many of the adults running around today, and I was one myself at some point, thank God I got myself healed out of that. It's this hurt young people, these hurt children that masquerade in these adult bodies, where in fact we are hurt people. We are not adults. An adult is somebody that is empowered to manage life, to understand that life comes with ups and downs, with rewards and challenges, and that stumbling, making a mistake, going bankrupt is not the end of the world. And we had a great intense discussion last year with regards to the regulations, and we spoke to organizations like Human Research Council, Department of Health, but it was a whole think tank. And we understood there, and I see it. Sometimes I'm not saying, a woman does not get hurt during a rape. Please, that's not what I'm saying. Sometimes society's perspective is so exasperated that the woman who has gone through that personal trauma thinks her life is over needlessly. Patriarchy and its systems through eons has subjected women and children to wars and all kinds of things. And normally, you know, when there's a war, women get raped. And we should never accept it. It's totally unacceptable, and it is a scourge on humanity. But we must empower ourselves and women, and especially young women, to the extent where we know we can heal from even something as atrocious as a rape. We can heal. You should not be defined by a vile act that was perpetrated against you. You should not be defined by your mother who couldn't deal with her own stuff and who told you that you are useless. You should not be defined by anybody putting you down, because when anybody that puts another human being down is a person in their own, they are so engrossed in their own trauma and challenges that they cannot act like decent human beings. And I want to say to women today, and the women who will see this later, no matter what has happened to you, no matter what your circumstances, please empower yourself with knowledge. And if you don't know how, reach out, we will try and tell you. There's always a woman that has gone through something worse than you could ever have imagined somewhere in another part of the globe, if not your next door neighbor. And we can overcome anything. There are tools available today for women to overcome everything. If you have a dream, look for help. There's help. Don't give up on it. And if you don't know how, reach out. Some of us are there, and that is our vision in life, and that is our purpose, is to be those that empower others.
I think that was a mouthful. I see we've got so much. I think we'll need another session where we can be able to catch up and we can get much more on what Francisca is busy with. At the end of the program, if you've got a question or if you want some details, contact details, we'll be able to give out to you. Just because we started late and we are running out of time, I think Francisca will continue with the second part. Definitely, we are going to have a second part before the Women's Month finishes, so that we can hear much of what you're doing, how you're impacting other people, those training sessions and everything. Thank you so much. Let us give her a hand of applause, please.
Thank you.
Our next speaker, thank you, Francisca. Our next speaker is V. V, she's going to give us a brief story of her journey. In more also in relation to what Francisca has just mentioned about finding yourself and standing up, dusting off, and moving forward. Over to you, V, if you can hear me. V, are you there?
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Messi. Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Hello, yes, Messi? We can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much, Franz, for the boring talk that you gave us. I'm definitely going to get in touch with you because you spoke of some things that we didn't know, that is not public knowledge, which is great. Today, I'm to talk about my journey from my own point as a woman. My name is Tatenda Kahari, former Gavaza. I'm now a mother of 4. I'm the co-founder of School of Empowerment. I'm an elder at my church. I go to Glory Ministries International. My shop is Bishop Apostle, he's based in Zimbabwe. I'm based in and I live in Delft. But I just wanted to encourage women today with what I've gone through in my life. I grew up with a very, it's sort of common and rare at this
V, if I can
form of
interrupt you a
eczema.
bit,
Most people,
V, if I can interrupt you a bit, yes,
yes.
we need your video. Okay, you are there now. Thank you. So that at least everyone can relate with you. V, can you hear me? Can you hear me, V? I think she's having a technical issue with the network. Hafsa, can you please take over? Then V will come back after. Let us try to see what her issues are with connectivity. Then Hafsa, can you please unmute yourself, introduce yourself briefly? Sorry for the time. We're trying to manage the time. Over to you, my dear.
Thank you so much, Mercy. Thank you for inviting me, and good afternoon to all the ladies that joined us and who've taken the time off on this super awesome Women's Day. My name's Hafsa Kareem, and I am from Pretoria. I'm an attorney by profession, but I'm actually a community activist by choice. I am the chair lady of the Lodium Women's Network, the Pretoria Muslim Women United, and various other organizations. I sit on various other boards. And what I found is that over time, as we've started doing community work, what's become very prevalent is gender-based violence. Unfortunately, it's a topic that doesn't get spoken of much, especially in the Indian community. It's swept under the carpet, and it's been existing for many years, you know. So unfortunately, very often we don't listen to victims. We actually, you know, when somebody does convey their message, we tend to be hesitant to take it further or to believe or to support them. And I think another very, very important thing we should do with regards gender-based violence is to teach the next generation of girls that it's totally unacceptable. And as a community, it's important for us to learn the signs. And I think, as Francesca has already said, you know, there are various forms of gender-based violence, not only physical, where you look for bruises or you look for somebody who's been assaulted. When you talk to people, you'll notice that somebody might be emotionally abused or somebody's psychologically not okay. And we as women should actually support other women and make sure that we are there to uplift women and not put people down. And like Francesca has also mentioned, talk behind their back or gossip about them. And I must say that gender-based violence is not only perpetrated against women who are not independent. There are very many independent, empowered women who actually face abuse, who are in relationships where they are psychologically and emotionally traumatized. And you'll find that women who are empowered are financially sabotaged. They're financially abused. You'll find that economically, their bank accounts, it's their money, but they can't spend it, their property, and they get everything that pertains to them, anything that empowers them, the perpetrator will try and sabotage. So he will make every effort to dull your shine. So whether it is physically, emotionally, psychologically, verbally, we should, as women, become aware of these signs. And it's very important for us to talk about it, because if we stay silent and if we ignore it, we'll find that people continue the abuse. So as women, I think it's very important for us to support other women and to to start a conversation if you realize that somebody is going through an abusive process, in as much as they may not speak about it, because obviously they are traumatized, they are scared to speak out. We should encourage them to talk. And to gain people's confidence, I think what's very important is to make sure that you don't discuss it with other people. And we as women should support organizations that support women who are abused. We should support victims in whatever way we can. And, it's actually quite a frightening statistic, but I was doing some research, and there are over 243 million women and girls who were abused in this past year by their partners. And what's worse is that COVID has intensified it, because remember, many men were permanently around their women, which made things worse. At least very often men who worked left their wives during the day or left their partners during the day. And then many people have lost their jobs, and this just created further strife. Legally, what you can do as an attorney, this is my advice to you, is that you should report it to the police. It's important for you to make sure that you have some kind of record. Furthermore, get a protection order. If you think that you or your children or people close to you are in danger, please go to your local police station, go to your magistrate's court. Your local magistrate's court will make you complete an affidavit, and it doesn't necessarily have to be physical abuse, but if you feel threatened, you should go and get a protection order. And if you are in a situation where you've been raped or assaulted, it's important for you to go to the district surgeon and get some kind of medical records, because very often women are so traumatized that they don't go and seek that medical assistance or that attention right now. And what happens is, in 2 days' time, there isn't really much proof. Or if there was a sexual assault, you're not going to have proof of that assault after 2 days. So it's important for you to make sure that you go and seek the necessary help immediately. And there are lots of organizations who assist. If you just have to Google gender-based violence and hone it down to your local region, you'll find that there are many organizations. So please, ladies, support other women and make sure that you as a woman don't tolerate abuse, because what we're doing is, if we continue to tolerate abuse, we're just empowering the perpetrator. We're actually a disservice to the victims. So that's, I think, from my side. I don't want to take too much of your time, especially because we are running a bit late on time, and we don't want to take too much of your public holiday. So yes, if there is anything further that I
and to opportunities. And we have this massive, basically, kindness platform where kind, amazing, creative, like-minded people are coming together to create magic. And I would love to connect with all of you after this. And today is a very special day because we are talking about women, ladies. And there's a very powerful video, which I was going to play, but I'm going to just give you a bit of a rundown on the terrible messages that we're sending our women, the confusing things when we say to them, just be a lady, they said. Show some skin, don't be too fat, don't be too thin, don't eat so much, no, eat a salad, don't eat carbs, skip dessert, dress modestly, no, don't be a temptress. Men can't control themselves, men have needs. Don't be so provocative. Wear heels. You're too dressed up. You're too dressed down. You've let yourself go. Men like women with some meat on their bones. Be small, be light, be petite, be feminine, be a size 0, Be a 00. Be nothing. Be less than nothing. Be a lady, they said. Remove your body hair, tuck your tummy, thin your thighs, tone your calves, perk up your boobs, look natural, be yourself, be genuine, be confident. You're trying too hard. You look overdone. Men don't like girls who try too hard. Be a lady, they said. Wear makeup. Highlight your cheekbones, line your lids, fill your brows, lengthen your lashes, color your lips. Your hair is too short. Your hair is too long. Women don't get old. Look youthful. Old is ugly. Men don't like ugly. Be a lady, they said. Be pure. Don't flirt. Don't be a skank. Don't be a whore. Don't sleep around. Don't have sex with too many men. Don't be a prude. Don't be so uptight. Be innocent. Be dirty. Be sexy. Be the cool girl. Don't be like the other girls. Just be a lady, they said. Don't talk too loud. Don't talk too much. Don't be intimidating. Don't be a bitch. Don't be bossy. Don't be assertive. Don't swear. Make him work for it. Fold his clothes. Cook him dinner. You'll make a good wife someday. You don't want children? Crazy feminist. You will someday. You'll change your mind. Be a lady, they said. Protect yourself. Don't drink too much. Don't walk alone. Don't go out too late. Don't get raped. Don't go out alone. Don't make eye contact. Don't attract. Don't smile at strangers. Don't say yes. Don't say no. Just be a lady, they said. Well, I don't know if anybody else confused. What does it even mean to be a lady, to be a girl, to be a woman? And it's these stereotypes, these unrealistic expectations about what we're supposed to look like, how we're supposed to behave, to be a good wife, to be a good woman. And these are perpetuated by us, our own families, society, the media. It's us. We are all responsible. When my mother was growing up, a CEO, a woman CEO, it was unheard of. If you were lucky enough to afford an education, you were a teacher, a nurse, or a secretary. And yes, we have come far, but we have not come far enough. There are still women in countries that are denied the right to go to school, to learn, to grow and develop. And here in South Africa, yes, our ladies are able to go to school, but they can't even afford sanitary pads. Menstruation is not a choice. Sex is a choice. Condoms are free. Why are pads not free? We need to teach our girls, give them the tools, give them the space to grow, to dream big, to be more than just the washing, to be more than just someone's mother, to become great leaders. I went to a magazine launch that I was so grateful for. It was Inspired Women's Magazine, and it's this kind of thing, media that talks about educating, informing, uplifting, connecting with each other. These kinds of things excite me. Why? Why do we think it's okay for our girls, for anybody to be reading a magazine that's talking about Kim Kardashian's cellulite? I mean, we should be talking about inspiring each other, building each other up, not competing for how good we're going to look or not look. This company that I have created called Connect is that exact thing. It's about connecting kind, like-minded people, and it stands for charitable opportunities, networking, employability, connecting kindness through technology. We use as many different platforms as we can, and that is why I'm so grateful to be here on this platform, because I would like to take every opportunity. This country, this world is in crisis, and I want to take this opportunity to talk about gender-based violence pandemic, the mental health pandemic, the suicide, the human trafficking. We need to come together right now and find a way to build back better. We have made mistakes. We need to share. We need to share what we know, what we think, and what we have to enact some real change. If you think small business suffered during Corona, I just want you to think about the charities, that were already in crisis before this began. And it is them who are creating these feeding schemes. It is them, women, mothers, nurses, teachers, social workers. It is women who are holding this country together. And we want to help take care of those women because there are now triple the amount of beneficiaries than ever before. And there is less money than ever before. So we have to challenge ourselves, challenge what we've been doing in the past. We were wrong about gay people. We tried to lobotomize them and institutionalize them. We've been wrong about people with disabilities, and we have been wrong about women because we need leaders with courage to stand up, to say to their mates, it's not okay to laugh at that disabled person. It's not okay to talk about that woman's breasts. We need to understand that we are just different, not better, different. This is a poem written by someone with a disability, and I hope it challenges your perceptions today. Just because I don't look like you doesn't mean that I can't see what goes on around me. And just because I don't talk like you doesn't mean that I have nothing to say. Just because I don't move like you doesn't mean that I can't be moved by what is around me. And just because I don't think like you doesn't mean that I don't think at all. Because eye for eye and heart to heart, we all laugh and we all cry. And in our hearts, we all want to fly. So accept that I'm different and I'll do the same for you. Because in my world, you're pretty different too. It's not about winning or losing, guys. It's just about improving. Our goal is not to be perfect at the end. It is just about being better. So that's a I must drink water button. See, I'm looking after myself. We need leaders who can create a world, a vision that they want the world to look like. What is your vision? What are you doing every day to change the world, to be the change? A leader is not about being the best. It's about making everybody else better. Be inspired, dream big. And if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, become more, you are already a leader. I'm going to end with this poem because self-care to me is the way to take our power back. It is us who are taking care of so many. So we need to take care of ourselves. It's time to be a good mommy to yourself. So this poem is called You Are Who You've Been Looking For. You are who you've been looking for. So stop looking for more unless you're looking in a mirror, because it's about time for you to see clearly that you are who you've been looking for. And that empty feeling you've got, that hole in your chest, you only got that feeling because you think you're not blessed with everything you need. You see, we live in a consumerist society, which means they need you to buy stuff. And the best way to tell you that is to tell you that you're not enough. Buy this car, you'll get girls. Buy this bra, you'll get guys. And we start seeing it so much that we believe these lies. But the truth is, the makeup they're selling to make you feel prettier is the same makeup you're buying to stop feeling shitty about this lie they keep telling you that you are not enough. And what about the shows that we watch on TV? I need you to complete me. Yes, love is the answer. Love is the key. But if you can't love yourself, how will you ever love me? And loving yourself, what does that even mean? Like massages and selfies and that sort of thing? Because the more I think about it, the more it feels weird. The more I've been told that self-love was something to be feared, that arrogance is bad and vanity, it's not good. And even my bracelets are telling me to act how Jesus would. So what should I do? How should I act? I'm supposed to love myself, but how do I even do that? Well, you see, I got a trick I picked up from a friend who noticed that I was quick to defend her when she would say something negative about herself. She'd say, I'm so dumb. And I'd say, you're so brilliant. She'd say, I'm so weak. And I'd say, you're so resilient. And when she said, I look ugly, I said, you look beautiful. And she said, why are you so dutifully filling up my cup constantly and yet treating your own so irresponsibly? She gave me a hug and she said, treat yourself like someone you love. Treat yourself like someone you love. Now, I had been standing, but I needed to be sitting because I couldn't believe that I had letting myself keep forgetting that I was who I'd been looking for. And deep in my core, you have of your perfection. So start today. Take a good long look in the mirror and say, I am who I've been looking for. Thank you. Happy Women's Day, everybody. What a privilege and a pleasure.
Thanks so much, Naomi. I think time is very jealous. I was still enjoying you and everything, but we still need to move on. Ladies, she has just mentioned something. Sorry, this is a dignity park. It's one of the initiatives which School of Empowerment is running. She will mention something about pads. Why are pads not as treated as condoms? So School of Empowerment has made a dignity park, which is our initiative we have launched in this month. This park, I don't know if you can see it very well. It consists of 2 packets of pads, a toothpaste, a toothbrush, a face cloth, a tablet, a roll-on, a tissue, and a lotion for the women out there so that we can restore dignity. So our initiative is Give a Girl a Pad, restoring dignity for women and young ladies. Thank you so much, Naomi. That was so awesome, so wonderful. Since time is still not on our side, I'm not quite sure if V is still back with, are you back on, or we can go to Juliet now? V, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Mercy. I've just changed my station. Can you hear me now? Hello, Mercy.
You're
Mercy,
still shaking. Hello, yes, we can hear you, but
okay, is it better now?
yeah, that's better. Try. If not, then we'll have to cut you off and go to Juliet so that whatever minutes are left, then at least we can manage to cover each and everyone. I think I'm not so sure if we'll have the question and answer session. If you've got any questions, comments, and whatever, just type in there. We are going to get them from the chat box. Thank you. Go ahead, V. Over to you. Thank you.
I'm sorry about the technical glitch earlier. My name is Wimbaina Shekari. Currently the co-founder of School of Empowerment, and I'm also working with Mercy on the projects that we are having at School of Empowerment. Today, I just want to share my journey as a woman with a chronic ailment. I grew up with a very bad case of eczema. It's also called atopic dermatitis. Most people know it like that. And I just wanted to say, as I was growing up, it was a hard and painful journey. And as a woman, like what the other ladies were saying, society tends to judge a lot, and society tends to be very harsh.
We are losing you. We are losing you. Can you hear me?
Okay, Mercy, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, so let me just continue.
Yes,
So,
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you clearly. All right. So hello, Mercy.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so as I was saying, as a woman, it was hard as a girl growing up with such a skin disease. The doctors thought it would be over.
V, Can we try, Juliet, maybe just try to work on that sound. We are still having some issues. So Juliet, I think you can take over. Juliet, can you hear me?
Yes, Marcy, I can hear you.
Is it possible for you to put on your video?
Sure, yes.
Juliet is one of our speakers. She's addressing us from right up there, Africa, from Uganda. Welcome, Juliet, and take it.
Thank you so much, Marcy, and hello to everyone. Back in Uganda, we are out of lockdown, and so it's such exciting that it's really good, but I'm still working from home, and so I'm not able to move myself, but I take this opportunity. My name in full is Apollo Juliet Scovia from Uganda. I currently work with Uganda Registration Services Bureau. This is a government national body that deals with registrations of businesses, companies, and the like. However, I also interest myself in entrepreneurship. Personally, I have initiatives that I'm running, for instance, goat rearing as a business, but also small-scale lending as a business, as part of what I do, aside of what I do with Uganda Registration Services Bureau. By background, I'm a lawyer and an advocate, so it's really so delightful to have members on the platform that are really speaking the same language. In regard to our topic of today, first of all, happy Women's Day to every woman out there. It is so exciting to be a woman. I think most of us would attest to that. The journey is not an easy journey, but I believe that with the commitment, the efforts that we put into what we do every day as a woman makes us a better person. And so that challenges us to even do better, you know. I want to share my experience with a woman, especially in Uganda currently. There was a time when, you know, the woman is the breadwinner of a home. She will do all this, the chores, taking care of children, going to sell in the market. Now it came to a time when we could not do that. Women could not basically move from one district to another. And so you find that their livelihood was cut out. So that is a struggle as it is. It is an experience I'm sure everyone must have gone through. In South Africa, it is very true that has happened, and so much we see around us. But then we wonder, how do we help ourselves? How do we encourage ourselves beyond, you know, you had a small business, it's, you know, a retail shop, and then you do not have any customer coming your way. You know, how do you tell your child who is, you know, constantly asking, Mommy, I need to eat this, Mommy, I need to eat bread, and you can't even provide that? So as, you know, mothers or as a woman, it's quite challenging. You know, they would do anything. I know of examples of ladies or mothers out there who would even have to walk, aside of saying you have to stay home. They said, no, I'd rather walk to the marketplace because there's food, but you cannot access the food. And so you find that these women really stood out in that time. They had to even sleep in the markets, because then they're saying, no, why don't you just stay back where you're working from? If you're a person selling, let's say, bananas, tomatoes, and all these kind of basic foods that people really want, they will tell you to stick in the market. And so you find that that is already vulnerability as it is. These ladies are exposed to so much. There's probably violence, you know, sexual harassment, because some of these places are places where we share with men, you know. Trying to move a home is quite a distance. They are not well in terms of health. So that poses quite a big challenge. But then as a woman, I want to encourage us that yes, by nature, God created us so special. And so I believe that as a woman, in us, it is a system that is inbuilt. We do not have to borrow it from anyone. It is instinct, inborn, where you realize that I'm a woman, I'm a mother, regardless of whether I sleep hungry, I need to fend for my family. And so there's nothing under the sun that has not happened to a woman and that they've not been able to come through. So women out there, it is possible. With Uganda Registration Services Bureau, we have also tried to look at the woman who who comes and registers her small business. You know, she's just registered, it's picking up, but then this calamity hits. And then she's asking, so what do I do? Was it even necessary for me to formalize, you know, my business and have it running? You know, that technology comes in, and those are the challenges. We cannot have access to, let's say, basic data. It must be money that you must have. So what should we do as women? We encourage ourselves and create groups to just, you know, to talk to ourselves, because we face the same challenges across the world. How do we empower ourselves in the small groups, forming a circle, kind of related initiatives where we save and, you know, empower ourselves. If you must, for instance, save money and say, it's more like a circular, you know, arrangement that if we have a month and then we have 6 people in our group, then we collect this money to make it rotational, that each end of the week, we are collecting money to push it to X. And then the next round, the week comes around, and then you push it to the next person. And so it goes on. So by the time that the month comes through, everyone has had a share of the money, which may be able to meet their basic needs. So it's quite a challenge, but we know that it is possible. As a woman, like I said, it is inbuilt in us. We are strong by nature. God knew that we would go through the tough times. And yes, the tough times are not going to go away soon, but then we know that we shall make it. The man out there has been, yes, we're talking of women day to day, but when we look at a woman, we also want to place the man in that picture. Yes, great men are there that have supported this woman through, that have, you know, held them along, have not judged them, but have given them the space to express themselves, to access opportunities in terms of education. We look at the knowledge. We know people who are sharing knowledge with the woman, because they believe that if you empower women, then you have empowered the whole nation. So we really grateful to those men that continue supporting the woman. It is not only the woman show, but it's also the boy and the girl and everyone in the community that has a role to play as leaders. So as leaders, we believe that as our role, we are there to encourage the woman. Women's Day is a special day. We celebrate it every time, but we are special beyond Women's Day. We are special. And so we should not forget that element, that every day we are special. And so when we have the opportunity, let us seize the opportunity and maximize it and exploit it to the best of our abilities. Yes, we know we have disabilities in our communities. We see a lot of disability, a lot of domestic violence. But again, as leaders, we have to stand up. Being a lawyer by profession, we've had chances where we interface with the victims of abuse. We had Karim talk about the support that they need. You need to be able to report such kind of injustice around you right from your household. We know domestic violence is a vicious cycle. For many women, shy away and say, no, why would I have to report my husband? I'm afraid of what may befall him. He probably will not return home, and so how will I live on? But it's always the commitment, the focus, and to know that, to agree and accept that this is bad, and no man or no woman should, deserves to be under that kind of abuse. So we find women being counseled to just stand up, because that is where it all starts from. There's an injustice happening, but someone does not take it up. They believe it's an injustice to even report. And so creating awareness and having communities come out to, first of all, identify the rights abuse for which they can stand up against. So a lot of that is going on, and we believe, yes, we shall really succeed in that area. Otherwise, it is really a good day, equipping, empowering, the knowledge, the information is all there. And yes, to the speakers, there's so much that I've learned. There's a lot of initiatives that are really helping the woman come on board in terms of connecting them. They're vulnerable, yes, but with that platform, with those spaces, I believe a woman can shine. The girl child can shine. We'll look at things of, let's say, the early childhood kind of pregnancies or marriages back in Uganda. That is so common. I must confess it's very common. But then yes, a girl can be given an opportunity to turn her life around. It could happen, but then how do we pick them up without judging, castigating them, and leading them to a better future? So it is really exciting. There's so much to share, but I believe we all together can do something to change.
Child marriages, I think we'll need it. We'll need that. And teenage pregnancy, that was the part which I wanted to share. But I think in that session, I'll be able to share much more. And Juliet, I would love you to also share on the young girl marriages. In most cases, they are forced into those marriages and everything. And you being an advocate, being a lawyer, I'm sure you've got quite a lot of info on your hands, which you would want to share with the rest of Africa, the rest of the world, and the changes. You've mentioned a bit on the economic, financial part. I'm sure the other ladies also that got other topics. Naomi, I know she is something else. She's got much more poems. She's got a lot to share with us. So on the 28th, we are going to have another session which we are going to communicate. But for today, thank you so much and happy Women's Day for you in Uganda and the rest of the women there. V, I just want to check, are you there? I think I've got still 5 more minutes. I don't know how you can be able to wrap up your story. Can you hear me? V, are you there? I think network today has been very ugly with you. It doesn't want you to open your mouth. V, can you hear me? All right. So just in brief, School of Empowerment.
Yes, I can hear you, Mr. How are you? Yes.
I'm okay. I'm okay. Can you hear me? Okay, over to you. Try. I've got.
Can you hear me now? Minutes. Yes, and Messi.
Over to you, V.
I think for today, I won't be able to share my story there, but I just I said for today I won't be able to say, but I just want to thank everybody who was part of today, and we'll show in the next time. Today actually has been really rough, so this schedule. Thank you so much for being on board, and I'll just leave it back to you, Mercy. Thank you so much. Because I don't have time to speak now.
Thank you so much, V. That was wonderful. So V, I will request if you can still share your story in the next session, which we are going to have on the 28th of August. Would love to hear your story. It will be also encouraging, empowering, and equipping to share a life experience, because most of the people would want to actually hear from a survivor. That's what they want to hear. So I think on the 28th, you'll be one of our panelists again. I'll invite you back, just like the other ladies. I don't want to change for this month. The other month, and maybe we can have other people. But for this month, the Women's Month, I would love if our speakers can retain and finish off the other topics which they wanted to share with us. So from School of Empowerment, I just want to thank all our speakers, all our listeners, all our mothers, all our women, our sisters, our aunties, and the men who are behind us, supporting us through this journey. It is a journey indeed, and hopefully we will finish the race with a win, which I expect, and I'm sure that's everyone's expectation. So from me, on behalf of School of Empowerment, I say thank you so much and enjoy further the Women's Day celebration. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you too. Bye-bye.
Bye, Juliet.